जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Okay, so today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, Chapter 7, the sacrifice performed by Daksha, verse number 44. Canto 4, Chapter 7, verse number 44. विद्याधर ऊचु त्वन्मायाया अर्थम अभिपद्य कलेवरे अस्मिन् कृत्वा ममाहम इति दुर्मतिरुत्पते स्वे। क्षिप्तो अपि असद् विषय लालसा आत्ममोहम युष्मत् कथामृत निःसेवक उद्व्युदसेत्। Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The Vidyadhara said, Dear Lord, this human form of body is meant for attaining the highest perfectional objective, but impelled by your external energy, the living entity misidentifies himself with his body and with the material energy, and therefore, influenced by Maya, he wants to become happy by material enjoyment. He is misled and always attracted by temporary, illusory happiness. But your transcendental activities are so powerful that if one engages in the hearing and chanting of such topics, he can be delivered from illusion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The human form of life is called Arthada because the body can very nicely help the embodied soul to achieve the highest perfection. Prahlad Maharaj said that even though temporary, the body can give us the highest perfectional achievement. In the process of evolution from the lower to the higher grade of living, the human form of life is a great boon. But Maya is so strong that in spite of achieving this great boon of the human form of life, we are influenced by temporary material happiness and we forget our goal of life. We are attracted by things which will cease to exist. The beginning of such attraction is a temporary body. In this horrible condition of life, there is only one way of liberation: to engage in the activities of transcendental chanting and hearing of the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The words Yusmat Kathamrita Nishevaka mean those who engage in relishing the nectar of the topics of your Lordship. There are two narrative books which especially concern the words and activities of Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is an instruction given by Krishna, and Srimad Bhagavatam is a book containing topics exclusive about Krishna and his devotees. These two books are the special nectar of the words of Krishna. For those who engage in the preaching of these two Vedic literatures, it is very easy to get out of the illusory conditional life imposed upon us by Maya. The illusion is that the conditioned soul does not try to understand his spiritual identity. He is more interested in his external body, which is only a flash and which will be finished as soon as the time is designated. The whole atmosphere will change when the living entity has to transmigrate from one body to another. Under the spell of Maya, he will again be satisfied in a different atmosphere. This spell of Maya is called Avaran Atmika Shakti because it is so strong that the living entity is satisfied in any abominable condition. Even if he is born as a worm living within the intestine or abdomen in the midst of urine and stool, still he is satisfied. This is the covering influence of Maya. But the human form of life is a chance to understand, and if one misses this opportunity, he is most unfortunate. The way to get out of illusory Maya is to engage in the topics of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advocated a process whereby everyone may remain in his present position without change, but simply hear from the proper authoritative sources about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advised everyone to spread the word of Krishna. He advised, all of you become spiritual masters. Your duty is simply to talk to whomever you meet of Krishna or of the instructions given by Krishna. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is operating for this purpose. We do not ask anyone to first change his position and then come to us. Instead, we invite everyone to come with us and simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because we know that if one simply chants and hears the topics of Krishna, one's life will change. He will see a new light and his life will be successful. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 7, verse number 44. Translation. The Vidyadhara said, Dear Lord, this human form of body is meant for attaining the highest perfectional objective, but impelled by your external energy, the living entity misidentifies himself with his body and with the material energy, and therefore, influenced by Maya, he wants to become happy by material enjoyment. He is misled and always attracted by temporary, illusory happiness. But your transcendental activities are so powerful that if one engages in the hearing and chanting of such topics, he can be delivered from illusion. Hare Krishna. So, this is a prayer offered by the inhabitants of Vidyadhar Loka. When Daksh Prajapati, he performed a sacrifice. In that sacrifice, he invited everybody except Lord Shiva. And because he did not invite Lord Shiva, that sacrifice was a failure. And he was killed. But later on, Lord Shiva, being merciful, he revived. He again made him alive, Daksh Prajapati, and allowed him to conduct the sacrifice. Now, in the second instance, when the sacrifice was successful, then Lord Vishnu appeared there. And as Lord Vishnu appeared, everybody assembled. They started offering prayers to Lord Vishnu, including the denizens of various heavenly planets, upper planets. So one of the upper planet is Vidyadhar Loka. So the residents of Vidyadhar Loka, they are very powerful, full of Vidya, knowledge, siddhis. They can fly in the sky. So they also offered prayers. And in this prayer, very beautifully they have expressed that how the human form of life is very essential and helpful to receive perfection. Perfection means here to revive our eternal relationship with Krishna. But due to the influence of material nature, the entity in the human form, the living entity in the human form, misidentifies himself with the material world, with the material energy. And in that illusion, he hopes for happiness, he hopes for sense enjoyment, but he ends up in misery. So the only way this person can come out of illusion is when he hears and chants Krishna's holy name and Krishna's pastimes and qualities and beautiful form, etc. So each one of us is an individual soul, individual living entity, spiritual in nature. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has manifold energies categorized into three: internal energy or spiritual energy, marginal energy, and external energy or material energy. Internal energy is also called Antaranga Shakti, internal. External energy is also called Bahiranga Shakti, external. And marginal is called Tathastha. So we, the souls, are marginal energy, Tathastha Shakti. The soul is also spiritual, not material. The soul is Sat Chit Anand, eternal, full of knowledge and blissful. But being tiny, being anu, small, the soul has a tendency to come under material energy, external potency. Even though the soul, being spiritual in nature, is superior, and material energy is inferior, but still the soul has tendency to be influenced by material energy. So it's called marginal. Tatastha. Marginal means both the sides, sometimes under spiritual energy, sometimes under material energy. Like the shore of the ocean is marginal, sometimes land, sometimes underwater, part of the ocean, high tide, low tide. So, when the soul, the marginal potency, comes in contact with material energy, then the three modes of material nature, Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun, mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, they influence the soul. The soul coming under the influence of material nature is called fall down. Why? Because the natural constitutional position of the soul is to be under the spiritual energy, engage in service to Lord Sri Krishna. That's a natural position, Swabhav, Swarup. But because of some miscalculation, when the soul comes in contact with Prakriti, material energy, that's called Patan, fall down, Chyut. So coming in contact with Prakriti, the soul is called conditioned soul, Baddha Atma. Because the activities, the thoughts, the habits, the behavior, the desires are all now conditioned by the three modes of material nature. The soul is no longer free. Just like a prisoner, once he is in a prison, he is conditioned by the rules of prison. Now he is no longer free to have his own schedule or move as he wants to any place. He is conditioned by the rules of prison, and he cannot go outside the walls, outside the gate, and at some time he cannot go outside his own cell, prison cell. So he is conditioned. So we are supposed to freely love Krishna, engage in his service. But when we come under the influence of material nature, we are conditioned. And a conditional soul in the influence of material nature manifests this material world around us. So in the material world, we falsely identify ourselves with this material world, with this material energy, that I am this body, I am male, I am female, I am Indian, I am American, I am manager, I am engineer, husband, wife, like that. And because I identify with my body, I try to obtain happiness for the body, thinking I will be happy. It's like somebody in the car identifies with the car, and he thinks, if I put petrol in the car, I will be happy, my hunger will go away. No, you are not the car. So we are not this body. So by giving sense object to the body, the soul will be satisfied. Soul is not compatible with matter. So there is false identification. And due to false identification, there are temporary, false, illusory happiness which the soul tries to achieve. Like if I am in a boy body, I will think if I get a football or a cigarette or a bike or a shoe, I will jeans, t-shirt, I will be happy. If I am in a girl body, I will think if I get a sari or cosmetics or makeup or lipstick or sandal or purse, I will be happy. But the soul has nothing to do with all these items. So the pig thinks if I get stool, I will be happy. But that is not happiness. So this is false happiness, illusory happiness which doesn't exist. It is just a sense contact. The tongue comes in contact with samosa and I feel happiness. But actually there is no happiness, it's illusory. So the material nature makes us feel that happiness and satisfaction because material nature covers our real knowledge. Maya, material nature, also called Maya, acts in two ways. Avaran Atmika Shakti, covering potency, and Prekshapa Atmika Shakti, pulling down potency. Avaran means cover. So Maya covers our real knowledge. So even a pig is happy eating stool. Even a worm is happy in the gutter. Because Maya has covered our real knowledge that I am soul, I am part and parcel of Krishna. So in ignorance we feel this is me and this is my life. Covering potency, Avaran Atmika. Then Prekshapa Atmika means pulling down potency. When the soul tries to escape the illusory energy, Maya pulls the soul down, puts us back in Maya, puts us back under influence of illusion. Just like in the prison, there is gate to keep the prisoner inside. There is a cell, there is lock, there is security. That's Avaran Atmika. Then if somebody tries to escape, then they shoot bullets and they go in their jeep to bring him back, they pull him back. That's Prekshapa Atmika. So one is keeping us satisfied under ignorance, and another is if we are trying to escape, then pulling us back. And the story in the Puranas about once Indra, he was cursed to become a pig. So Indra became pig and he was eating stool and having sex with female pig and had some 10-12 children. And he was thinking everything is nice, I am enjoying life. Daily I am eating fresh, wet stool, that's my feast. But due to the absence of Indra, there was problem in heavenly planets. So Brahma came down to Indra and he said, look, he told to the pig, look, you are Indra, you are king of heaven, what nonsense you are doing here? Just come back to the heavenly planet. And the pig said, no, I am happy here. Why should I come? He is getting an opportunity to become a king of heaven, but he is saying, no, I am happy as a pig. That's Avaran Atmika. Covering potency. He thinks, I am happy, I am satisfied. That is our condition. We are trying to become rich or amass wealth, property, car, house, clothes, so many gadgets and objects, and we are thinking this is life. This is the goal of life, to have nice job, to have nice wife and children, to have a car and to have nice food and nice career a nice friend circle, and name and fame. This is life. We don't think beyond this. We are satisfied with this material happiness. We are okay. We don't think that I am part and parcel of Krishna. I have to escape. That's Avran Atmika. So Indra is satisfied being a pig, eating stool and having sex with his female wife and taking care of small piglets. And Brahma is trying to tell him, you fool, you are Indra, the king of heaven. You forget this stool and come up. But he is not ready. Brahma tells him again and again, he said, look, my children are very small, I can't come. When they grow up big and live their own life, no longer dependent on me, then I will come. So Brahma comes again. When the children grow up, he said, now you come. He said, no, now their marriage is going to happen. They will find their partners. He keeps on postponing. Finally, Brahma kills all the wife and children and then forces him to come to heaven. So when we are trying to escape Maya, then also Maya is pulling us down. So this whole program of Maya is very complicated. Mama Maya Durataya. The living entity has dormant love for Krishna. There is eternal loving relationship with Krishna. It's called Ras, Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalyaras, Madhuryaras. So when we come down in the material world, that love which we have also gets transformed under the influence of three modes and becomes lust. Love in contact with mode of passion, Rajogun, becomes lust. Love means doing everything for Krishna's pleasure. Lust means doing everything for my pleasure. Lust is intense desire to enjoy. So when I have lust, intense desire to enjoy, then I will not sleep and sit quietly. I will try to fulfill that desire. That's attempt, the effort to fulfill that desire is called karma. So when I try to fulfill my desire, when I do karma, I become entangled in karma bandhan, in the fruits of karma, which are sukha and dukkha, happiness and distress. And that's how the cycle of birth and death continues. And in between there is old age and disease, janam, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. Because of karma and karma phala, fruits of karma, the cycle continues. So when I try to fulfill my lust, if it is not fulfilled, that lust transforms to anger. And if it is fulfilled, that lust transforms to greed. If my desire is not fulfilled, I become angry. And if my desire is fulfilled, I want more. That's greed. So that lust gives rise to anger and greed. And further, when my friend's desire is fulfilled, I become envious. And if my desire is fulfilled, I become proud. So pride and envy are also coming from lust. And in that we further go into illusion. These are the 6 anarthas: lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, kam, krodh, lobh, moh, mad, matsarya. 6 anarthas. So this is another effect of coming in contact with material nature, that we develop anarthas, we develop dirty things in our heart. We develop this anartha. Artha means profit, anartha means no profit, no value, useless. So coming in contact with material nature, A, we become conditioned. B, we come under the influence of 3 modes. C, we falsely identify with the human body. 4th, we try to obtain this illusory happiness. Fifth, we get entangled in the cycle of birth and death and full of miseries. And sixth, we get this anarthas. Seventh, we develop material attachments which binds us in the material world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told a story that there was a marriage party, the bridegroom party, Bharat, the boy, with his relatives. So they were going for getting married, and the girl used to stay in the next village, and in between there was a big river, and the muhurta for marriage was in the morning, early morning. So at night they crossed the river through a boat. They wanted to cross the river on a boat. So they all sat on a boat and told the boatman, look, morning is the muhurta, so you make sure we reach there early morning. Don't sleep in between, keep rowing. The boatman said okay. And it was dark, so they all sat on the boat and he started rowing. Morning, when the sun was rising and they woke up, the passengers, they saw they are at the same place where they started, same bank. So they became very angry on the boatman. He said, why did you sleep? Look, we are at the same place. The boatman said, no, I didn't sleep. My hands are paining. Whole night I was rowing. But they didn't move an inch. Why? Because the boatman forget to remove the ropes by which the boat was tied on the bank to a pillar. The boat is generally tied with ropes or an anchor is put. But the boatman forgot to remove those ropes. So even though he did rowing, he didn't move anywhere. So in the same way, we are tied with ropes to the material world through what is called material attachment. The ropes are called material attachment. If we don't cut these ropes, we will not get liberated, we will not move anywhere, there will be no spiritual growth. So there are 5 material attachments which we should cut. The first is attachment to the body and people related to the body. We are so attached to the body, we think I am this body. And the relatives and near and dear ones, my wife, my husband, my father, my mother, my son, my daughter, my uncle, my aunt, my grandfather, my grandmother, my neighbor, my friend. That's one attachment. Family, we have natural affection and we should perform our duties towards the family in Krishna consciousness in Varnashram. But not get attached, we should get attached to Krishna. Second is attachment to the property, to the objects which we possess. My house, my clothes, my car, my bicycle, my mobile, my computer, my table, my chair, my pillow, my objects in the cupboard, my objects in the drawer. We get attached to the objects. Third, we get attached to the country of birth or the land of birth. My country, my India, my gaon, my village. Next, fourth, we get attached to science. Whatever the scientists say, we agree. And fifth, we get attached to so-called religion. I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Sikh, I am Christian. So these are 5 attachments. Attachment to body and relatives, attachment to objects and property, attachment to land of birth, attachment to science, and attachment to religion. 5 attachments because of which we are in the material world. So we have to cut this attachment by the sword of knowledge, and knowledge comes by hearing and reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we hear the nectarian messages of Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and nectarian messages of devotees of Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear from the lips of pure devotee, then that sound vibration entering our ears goes into our heart and kills all the anarthas, cuts all the attachments neutralizes all the material desires and invokes back our dormant love for Krishna. That's why this hearing is very important. When we chant, we should attentively hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And when we sit in a class, we should attentively hear a class. And this sound vibration will transform our heart, will transform everything, will cleanse in our heart, will remove the effect of three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, ignorance, will establish bhakti irrevocably in our heart. Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion will go away. 5 attachments will be cut. So this happens only by surrendering to Krishna. By surrender means obeying Krishna's representative, following the process of sadhana bhakti. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur very nicely writes 6 characteristics of surrender. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshisyatiti vishwaso goptritve varnam tatha, आत्मनिक्षेप कार्पण्य सद्विद्या शरणागति. अनुकूल यस्य संकल्प. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that anukul, whatever is favorable for my bhakti, I should accept it, even if it is inconvenient, even if it is discomfort, even if it is not giving profit, but because it's favorable for my bhakti, I should accept it. Like waking up early morning, it's favorable to my bhakti. It's not convenient, it's not comfortable, but I should wake up and chant the holy name of Krishna, attend Mangala Arati. Anukulyasya sankalpa. Following Ekadashi. Anukul, favorable, so I should do it. Pratikulyasya varjanam. That which is pratikul, unfavorable, we should reject it, even if it is convenient, comfortable and profitable. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, no dishonest source of income, no cheating others or speaking untruth or performing sinful activities. Then Rakshisyatiti Vishwaso. We should have full faith that Krishna will protect me. And we should be helpless if Krishna doesn't protect me. Without Krishna, I will not be protected. He is my only maintainer. He is the supreme maintainer. And I should be very humble and meek. And whatever I have possessed, I should give it in the service of Krishna. My house, my skills, my talents, my money, everything should be in the service of Krishna. These are 6 characteristics of surrender: accepting favorable, rejecting unfavorable, accepting Krishna as supreme maintainer, knowing well that Krishna will always protect me, being meek and humble, and surrendering everything to Krishna. So this is the process of surrender. And when we follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions morning till night, Prabhupada has given instructions based on this process of surrender, to develop this surrender every day by going for Mangalarati, bowing down to Krishna, chanting his name, hearing Bhagavatam class, honoring only prasadam, doing devotional service. So even though the material energy is mama maya durataya, very powerful, but Krishna says, if you surrender to me, it will be easy to overcome. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Daivi eshi gunamai mama maya durataya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. This divine energy, Daivi eshi, is my energy, is divine and is very formidable. But mam prapadyante, if you surrender to me, it will be easy to overcome. Just like if somebody's dog is behind you barking and chasing you, and you are telling hut hut, but the dog is not going, very difficult. But if you tell the master of the dog, then the master of the dog will tell the dog, hey, he's my friend, don't bark. And the dog will stop chasing you and barking. In the same way, we don't have to fight with Maya. We have to surrender to Krishna. Then Krishna will tell Maya, ये तो मेरा आदमी है, this is my person, and Maya will not disturb us. So the process is not fight or struggle with Maya. The process is to take shelter of Krishna by chanting and hearing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. These two are most important. Every day we should chant minimum 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, read Srimad Bhagavatam, associate with pure sadhus. When we do those two, gradually our heart is transformed, purified, we get attached to Krishna and our love for Krishna is visible. We develop love for Krishna and we go back home, back to Godhead. That's the perfection of human form of life. That's the goal of human form of life. This human form of life is not for earning money, becoming rich and having big house and car or getting name and fame, get status in the society. What is the use to becoming a big person in human form of life, rich person, and next life becoming a pig? What is the use of becoming next life donkey or dog? That's foolishness. Yeah, we need to maintain our body and perform our duties because we have a material body and family. So we do that minimum, dovetailing the fruits to Krishna, giving the fruits of our work to Krishna, karma phala to Krishna. Another time we chant and hear, and now it's lockdown, we have more time if we are in the houses. So chant more, read more, hear more. Use this opportunity to grow in bhakti, so that at the end of life we go back home, back to Godhead. We don't come back in the another womb of the mother. We don't take another birth and again continue this stupid business or cycle of birth and death. So we should utilize this opportunity to grow further in Krishna consciousness. Okay, we will end here. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. If there are any comments or any questions, you may please ask. Either you unmute on Zoom and ask, or on Facebook you can type. Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam.
Yes, Guruji. Guruji, I have a query that marginal energy, that is, we said the soul is the marginal energy. So, is this applicable to us when we are in this material world? Isn't it? But it is not like the constitutional position of soul is marginal.
No. Soul is always marginal. The very soul is marginal is a category. It's not a quality. So soul is always in that category, whether in the spiritual world or material world.
But in Bhagavad Gita, as Krishna says, once one is come back to me, never will fall down. So in that case, we are in the internal energy, isn't it? Like we are always with Krishna.
No. Even now we are internal energy. See, soul is internal, spiritual energy. But there is two types of spiritual energy. Swamsha and Vibhinamsha. Swamsha means Krishna or Krishna's incarnations and expansions, and Vibhinamsha means separated part and parcel. So we are Vibhinamsha, separated part and parcel. We have a relationship with Krishna. So we are internal energy, spiritual energy. At the same time, we can come under material energy. That's why we are categorized into marginal energy. So even when we go back to Krishna and never come back, we are spiritual energy, of course, but still categorized in marginal because we have a tendency to fall down. Okay?
So do that mean, Guruji, even if we are liberated, there are chances we will fall down?
Well, the possibility cannot be denied, but the probability is hardly there.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Any more questions? Hare Krishna, Vashist Sevak Prabhu.
Prabhuji, soul is superior energy or marginal energy?
Soul is spiritual, superior, spiritual. But because being tiny, soul can come under the influence of material, so it's called marginal. So actually there are only two, spiritual and material. So soul is spiritual, Satchidanand. But among spiritual, soul is tiny and can come under material. So separated category is discussed as marginal, that soul can come under material, so soul is called marginal energy. The soul is spiritual basically. Okay, just like I explained, there is land and there is ocean, clear cut. What is land is clear, what is ocean is clear. But there is a small part called margin, which is land, clear cut land, but sometimes because of high tide it can become ocean, it can come underwater. So that part is called marginal. Sometimes land, sometimes underwater. So soul is spiritual, clear, spiritual, but can come under material, that's why it's called marginal. Radharani is spiritual, but can never come under material, so she is not marginal. Soul is spiritual, but can come under material, so it's called marginal. Okay? Hare Krishna. Okay, I have a question on Facebook. Hare Krishna. As always, you very convincingly tell us about attentive chanting, as also reading and hearing, thereby utilizing this opportunity to perfect our lives. Chanting our daily rounds, we understand, is a must. What I wish to know is, in your extra time, is there a preference between more chanting or reading? Is it okay to choose hearing, reading as against extra rounds? Well, there is no difference between chanting, reading and hearing. We should complete our quota, our minimum 16 rounds. In extra time, we can either do extra rounds, additional rounds, or we can do hearing, or we can do reading. We can choose, there is no problem, but it should not happen that we miss our hearing and reading, daily hearing and reading, just for extra rounds. We should not miss our chanting, we should not miss our hearing and reading also. So it's good to every day do minimum 16 rounds and read some pages and hear a class or two, or at now lockdown is there, you can hear more. So minimum hearing, chanting, reading should be done. And then more extra time is there, then we can choose whether to do extra rounds or extra hearing, extra reading. So some hearing and reading should be done. That's very important. We should not neglect Shravanam, hearing and reading, because chanting is everything, that's what we hear. So hearing and reading will help our chanting. Our chanting will be more effective when we hear and read, because by hearing and reading we develop good service attitude, and that helps us in attentive chanting without offenses. So daily we should read some pages and hear a class also. Okay? Any more questions? Yeah, you continue. I have somebody at the door.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, बोलिए.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, is Maya more powerful than Krishna in material world?
Never. How Maya can be more powerful than Krishna? Krishna is Shaktiman. He's master. No, no. Even material world, spiritual world, any world, Krishna is Shaktiman, supremely powerful. Krishna is above Maya. Maya cannot be more powerful than Krishna. That's why when we surrender to Krishna, Maya has no more influence on us. Okay? Okay, there is a question. There are people who are doing 64 rounds as against reading. Any preference? Thank you, Prabhuji. Well, yeah, there are devotees who do 64 rounds. They are not inclined to read and hear. So we don't disturb them. But for us, Srila Prabhupada has instructed that we should have healthy balance of chanting 16 rounds and hearing and reading. It may happen in your life or anybody's life that you get very nice taste in chanting and you just want to continue chanting. So that's okay. That's okay. We don't deny that. But overall, sadhana means balance of chanting, hearing, reading. We become mature in our advance in our chanting and we just want to chant more. At that stage, automatically such questions will not disturb us because the taste is there, so we'll chant more. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, then we will end here. Santosh? Okay, thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, devotees on Facebook. Next live class is 11 a.m. Bhakti Shastri.